Welcome viewers to our sweet home Nigeria. I am glorynezemma.
Good day viewers. My name is Augustina Anyanwutina.
And today our topic will be how to preserve our human resources in our country. In our other episodes we mentioned that most of our human resources have left the country because one, there's no employment and there's no place for them to use their skill to the highest level. So today we're going to give a little insight on things that we can do to be able to keep our human resources in Nigeria and then be able to get the ones that are outside Nigeria back home. And once again, we're geared towards pleading with the politicians that are coming into office and the ones that are there already, so the incumbent and the incoming politicians. Please, we're pleading with you to bring our human resources that are all scattered around the world, from South Africa to United States to Canada, all over. Let's bring them back so that they can help rebuild the country. So, my sister, what do you think we should do? In terms of now that the election is coming up, I know they're all coming outside to the country to speak to people, to vote for them, to encourage people at home to vote. But how are they going to get these doctors, these lawyers, these teachers, these nurses that are scattered all over the world, intelligent Nigerians all over, how do we get them back to our country?
That's an easy question, my dear. It's not even only getting them back, preserving the ones we already have there, while you're trying to bring the ones already outside back home. I think first and foremost to the politicians and to every individual that have the capability of hiring people, putting people in position to work. I think we will have enough products when we hire based on qualification.
Exactly.
Once somebody is specialized in a particular area, somebody is qualified for a particular position, once you hire them there will be surplus output.
That's true.
Let's say agriculture. You cannot take somebody who takes care of a dog or cat because it's related to you, and you go and make them somebody in charge of agriculture.
That's what it's called nepotism. I'm glad you brought it up.
No
yes.
matter they are educated, they have their doctorate degree, they have no clue when it comes to agriculture. Neither will you take somebody that have no clue about finance, and then you take them because they're related, they're your brother, they're your in-law, they're something to you. You just take them and go and put them in that position. Obviously, they have no clue what to do. And eventually, those that are qualified for the job, they are jobless. They are going back and forth. So, to stop them from leaving our countries, my dear, I think the best thing is we're going to hire them based on qualification, based on areas of specialization. I think when we start doing that, a whole lot of Nigerians will come back. Remember in the olden days, when our indigents go to overseas, after they study, even Nigerians will pay for them to go back home, so they can be able to help to build the nation, so they can be able to impact people based on whatever the knowledge they have acquired abroad. But right now, the reverse is the case. And like you said, we are calling on the oncoming government to do something about that. I think, you have something to say.
Exactly, which is very true. Because, I like what you brought up. Most of the time, when we study in Nigeria, what we study is more like theory. Take, for example, an engineer. An engineer went to school in Nigeria. What he did was just to study the theory aspect of it, but the practical aspect of it most of the time, because he did not have that opportunity. There was no job, so he did not utilize his skill that he learned in school. So most of them left the country. And then, as God would have it, some of them ended up being employed in their field, wherever they went. So let's say we might have an engineer that came overseas, and now he has used his skill, so he knows how to build bridges. Then we have other areas, other specialties. We have doctors, let's say surgeons, that studied medicine in Nigeria, but they came overseas and practiced. So now they have the experience. So all we could do is to bring them back. And how do we bring them back? Once again, I'm pleading with the politicians. Now that most of you are going into power, I know you would start building your cabinets. So when you build your cabinets, think of these people that are far away. These are our human resources that are scattered all over. Find a way to pull them back. Bring them home. The engineers bring them back so that they can build the bridges, because they have built bridges in foreign lands and they know how to build the bridges. The surgeons bring them back. The teachers bring them back, because these are people, like I said, that have practiced in the areas that they have studied. So they know exactly what to do. We can bring all of them back, and then they will come back and teach the ones at home. So that's my advice to you. Pick your cabinets from people outside that has the skill to rebuild Nigeria, so that they can help rebuild Nigeria. And the ones that are outside, my advice to you is this. Once they tap you to come back to rebuild Nigeria, don't go alone, because if you go alone, solo, you will be involved in the system in such a way that even the corruption and the bribery will be absorbed in it. And you might not be able to function how you want to function, because you'll be corrupt all over. Go with a team. Let's say, for example, if you're a lawyer and you're tapped to go over there to lead some of the judiciary system that we have in Nigeria, go with a deputy, go with a secretary, so that you can build your own cabinets. If you're a banker and they called you home to come and help to, restructure the bank, go with your secretary, go with an accountant. And once you get there, the first thing you should do is to look into the policy of the institution that hired you, and their vision and their mission. And if they don't have the policy and procedures, try to write it with your team. And once you write it, all you need to do is to continue to reinforce it. And then you'll be able to even hire other ones at home and be able to manage your company. And then the politicians, that's where you come in. Once the policy and procedures are written, when people do not abide by those laws, that's when the government will come in to reinforce what we have already established. So in this case, we can bridge the gap between the ones at home and the ones here, because we will create good institutions, which at the same time will help us to hire the ones at home, so that they can abide by the rules and regulations of the institutions that they are hired. So these are some of the advices that we wanted to give to help rebuild our country. I know we have a lot to do, but we can't abandon our country, you know that.
I know, in a nutshell, what you're saying, that they should not pour a new wine in an old jar.
That's true.
So that being said, let all of us work together and make some changes wherever necessary. And then we didn't talk about giving like in-services and trainings to certain areas, because each year is different. We cannot be living in the 1960s, 61 since our independence in certain ways.
That's true.
So we just have to give people in-services. We have to give trainings based on how the world is changing. The world is changing. We are now in the year 2019. We are no longer in the year 1999. So as the year changes, as the day changes, Nigerians, we have to change too. It cannot be the way it used to be. This is how it used to be. So please, all these young generations, let us not make the same mistake our predecessors made, so that we will be able to move higher, to compete with outside world. So Nigeria, as we know, we are the giant of Africa. No matter what anybody said, but we still have our own fault. And working together, I think we can overcome it. So, you have any other thing to say?
My last thing that I need to bring up, actually, I know that most of the time we complain and we're like, oh, Nigeria, there's nothing that we can do. It's spoiled, it's this. But I just want to let everyone know, I want to let every Nigerian know that we are the parents of Nigeria.
Oh, yes.
And an example that I'm going to give is this. Let's say if you have a child that is very stubborn. This child does not listen. Whatever you do, he will do his own thing. Any advice that you give the child will disobey. That child is still your child no matter what.
That's right.
The parents are still the parents. No matter what, you cannot, even if you send that child to an uncle, the child might be in the uncle's house for a few days, but still the uncle will be frustrated with the child. So my point is this: we are the parents of Nigeria. You cannot abandon your stubborn child no matter what. So you cannot abandon your country no matter what. All the men from Nigeria are Nigerian fathers. All the women were Nigerian mothers. So we are the parents of Nigeria.
That's right.
Nobody can take care of Nigeria but us.
That's all.
If we're expecting foreigners to come in, to come and help us transform the country, we might be disappointed.
That's
Because
right.
when you look at it, when there was problem in Israel, the Israelites that went outside, even the ones that lived in the United States, went back and rebuilt Israel. When there was problem in India, what happened? The Indians in the foreign land went back and rebuilt India. Other people did not rebuild India. It was Indians that rebuilt India. Other people did not rebuild Israel. It was Israelites that rebuilt Israel. So I don't think we will sit and watch to see what others can do for us. We are the parents of Nigeria. It's only Nigerians that can rebuild Nigeria.
That's right.
So my brothers and sisters, let's not abandon Nigeria. And Nigeria is our child. Whether it's good or bad, we have to unite and rebuild our country.
That's right.
That's our point today.
That's
So
right.
catch us in our next episode on our sweet home,
All right.
Nigeria.
Let's work together.
Thank
and
you
make it
so
a
much
better
for
place.
watching us.
All right.
And thank you for all your positive comments. We will be
We'll
glad.
make it work. All of us,
Exactly.
we get together and we make it work.
That's true.
So don't be discouraged.
That's true.
All right.
Thank you. And
Thank
united
you.
we will thrive. Thank you.